Hello, my lovely soul, and welcome to Unstoppable Confidence. I am your host, Lauren Glick. I am here to bring you my energy, my motivational speaking, and me being a confidence mentor. My mission is to inspire women to own who they are, step into their higher selves fearlessly, and live a life with unstoppable joy. On this show, we are going to cover everything from aligning your life to your higher self, setting boundaries, self-growth, and living a purpose-driven life. Let's get you living a meaningful life you cannot wait to wake up to. Stop driving and start living with ease and abundance. Cheers to living a magical life. And I am so grateful to be on this journey with you. Now, let's head into today's episode. First and foremost, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So a really brief introduction. Mirium Hart is actually a star on a Netflix show called The Unorthodox Life. So before we get into talking about what you're doing today, I would love for you to kind of briefly talk about what The Unorthodox Life is.
Yeah. So My Unorthodox Life is a reality TV show, pretty much following the trail of my family's path right now, as well as understanding what happened in the past. And I grew up in a fundamentalist Orthodox community in upstate New York. And at the age of 13, my mom escaped from the community and I escaped with her and officially joined her at age 16. So it pretty much tells a story of a family that, even though we're all on religious journeys in our lives, me and my mom not being religious, my sister in the middle, my brother in the middle, my other brother fully religious, we all share our stories, share our struggles, and show our love with each other on the show.
I love that. And by the way, if you haven't seen the show, I like to call it a documentary, but it's more like a reality show. If you haven't seen it, it is so flipping inspiring. You and your sisters and your brother. And is that your cousin as well? Or is that your half brother?
My brother, all brothers.
Yeah. Okay. So inspiring. Such a rad story. I applaud you for getting out of the situation you were in. So I love your story of where you are at such a young age. And if you wouldn't mind going into that a little bit, because I think technology, well, I don't think it's just what it is. Technology is huge right now. And how old are you, Miriam?
I just turned 22 a week ago.
Well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
And so what are you doing in the NFT world? Because there's so much talk about it right now. And I know you're doing big things too.
Yeah. Well, in the NFT world, I am just making NFTs.
And how did you learn how to do that?
Yeah, it's actually, okay. So I think this is interesting because to me, the way I like to explain this whole world to people is kind of like starting to make a cake without ever walking into a kitchen. You know, we all haven't walked into a kitchen at one point in our lives, or we all do something new that seems completely unknown. We're walking into a whole new room. We don't know where the things are, how to do it. But I like to say that the first place where people can go to learn is to just welcome uncertainty, unknowing things. And then what you do is you open up a cookbook in the kitchen and you follow instructions to learn how to bake a cake. And it's really for the NFT, it's doing the same thing. It's Googling how to make an NFT and following the recipe, of whatever it is. It's all available to us. We have access to this giant cookbook. It's called the internet, and on it we can learn literally anything. And so I didn't know what an NFT was 2 years ago. And what I did was I Googled on YouTube, because I'm a visual learner. I Googled what's an NFT, and then some dude explained to me what an NFT was, and then I found myself making them.
I love that. And I really like how you explained baking a cake, because I talk about confidence all the time and being able to walk into situations and just owning it. And
Yeah.
did you have, because I talk about mentors as well, and I 100% think that reading and podcasts are mentorship. Did
Mhm.
you have anyone that you were following that made NFTs before, or was it all just self-taught?
I wasn't following anyone in particular. Honestly, like although I have a big social media appearance,
Mhm.
I'm not a big social media person.
Mm.
Meaning that I don't really scroll, I don't really like look at people's posts. I kind of just like share my life through social media, and that's pretty much it. Um, but a lot of my friends, because I'm interested in the space, a lot of them are working at crypto companies or are just very involved or investing in them or, things like that. And so if ever I have questions, I text my friend, her name's Fiona. She lives in LA actually. And I text her like, how do I make my own token? And she'll be like, here's a website on how you do that. Here's like, Google this. And that's like a good starting point for me usually.
That's so rad because I did
Yeah.
see a post on yours today that you are making your own cryptocurrency too. So
Yeah.
it's like you're nonstop, and I absolutely love it. Like when I was 22, I don't even like, I just entered college and I was more
Mhm.
like not so active in like building my career. And I don't even know, would you consider yourself like, you just do these things for fun, right? Like it seems to me
Yeah.
that's just like fun for you.
Totally. I know. I think technology is a superpower, honestly, because technology, what's cool about it is that it's a way to have a louder voice, because that's how I look at it. Because if you have this idea, if you're, no matter what community you're in, no matter what life circumstance you have, if you have access to a computer and the internet, you can literally learn how to create anything.
Yeah.
Anything. You can create an app, you can create a website, you can do it. You can watch YouTube videos. That's what I did. That's how I learned, and it's just this superpower to share your story with the world, share your struggles and build solutions, actually make things that people can use.
But I want to ask you, where did you get your drive from? Because there's a lot of
Mhm.
people with a lot of time that
Yeah,
don't do those things.
right, right. I think I was pushed into the mindset of just doing my own thing because,
Mhm.
and this is a weird thing that's a benefit from this oppressive community that I came from, which is that I was this girl who wanted to wear sneakers, who wanted to run around in the mud and play basketball and football. And I wasn't allowed to do that. I wasn't allowed to play
Mm.
sports. I wasn't allowed to be running around. That's not appropriate for girls. I couldn't do cartwheels because then I was wearing skirts and people would see my underwear and it wasn't
Yeah.
appropriate. And so, but I wanted to, and that want never went away from me. And I found ways to still like wear sneakers in school, even though I got bullied for it. People are like, what is this girl doing wearing sneakers? She's supposed to wear like proper flats.
Mm.
Uh, and so I was kind of forced to feel different because what I wanted in the world was just looked down upon as being weird or abnormal. And so I just got into this mindset of if I want to be myself, I guess I'm just different. I guess I'm just weird. I might as well own it. That's how I felt. I might as well just do it because I'm clearly not happy if I conform. I didn't even know how to conform, honestly. Even if I wanted to, I was like, I can't change myself. This is who I am. And so I ended up just really diving into like the curiosity side of me. And because I was bored, I spent time on my brother's computer learning how to break dance, learning how to play guitar. And one time I just Googled how to make an app. And it was just kind of like that.
That's so rad. I absolutely love it. And moving on, like, because you're creating cryptocurrency, you're creating NFTs. I mean, I know a lot of people that are still just learning about NFTs. So my hats off to you, girl. I absolutely love it.
Thank
And
you.
when you're making apps, that to me, like making an app seems a lot more in depth. And it's probably because I
Mhm.
don't know much about it. But
Yeah.
how many apps have you made
Yeah.
to this day?
Uh, to this day, I made about 10, maybe 11 apps. Yeah.
And did you just have that network of people and that's what got you into making apps as well?
No, so app making it's weird. The first app I made, and it's hard for people to believe this, but the first app I made, I didn't know what the code meant that I wrote. I literally didn't know, I didn't know how to code. And like it was kind of this like thing called imposter syndrome. I'm not sure if you heard of that,
Yep.
but it's when, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I had imposter syndrome because I would show this app I made and people are like, wow, I can't believe you know how to code. And I was like, I don't actually know how to code. This is very embarrassing. And the way I
How
made the
interesting.
entire app, yeah, is because I would Google like literally how to add a button in an app. And then it would be a video where some person just this like on their screen writes the code for adding a button in an app. And then I would add that code onto my like SDK, which is like the software to make apps on. And I didn't know if I added in the right spot. I would constantly move the line around places and I would run and it wouldn't work. Then I'd move the line, I'd run again and it worked. And I was like, yay. And my friend would sit next to me and we'd be like, woohoo, woohoo, it compiled, you know? So I didn't know. Yeah. And so literally it was just out of just grit, out of me just not giving up and being like, I don't know how to code, but that's not going to stop me.
And I think that's really important. You made such good points there, is that even how many times that you fall down, it doesn't matter how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get up. And I think as you were talking about grit, I think it's really important because especially if people fail, a lot of society is like, well, it's just not meant for me. So I love when you mentioned grit, because I think it's really important. Especially with, and I'm going to keep going back to it, Miriam, the fact that you're only 22 and you've made 10 apps and it was all self-taught. So that, if that is not inspiration for you, if you're listening today and that's not inspirational enough to you, I don't know what is. But out of your 10 apps, which app would you say that you're most proud of, the one that you like the most? Which one of your apps is that?
I think like the one I like the most, the one I'm most proud of are different actually, because the one I like the most, I would say, the third app I made, the fourth app I made actually, is called Browse, and it pretty much, you know what, actually I take that back. The one I'm most proud of, or I like the most, is this app called Norma, which helps. It's like a chatbot app called You Talk to Norma, and it helps you journal your breast health in. To like you say like, oh, I feel a lump on my left breast or something like that, and then it would just journal that in for you, and then you can see like over time how your breasts are doing, and then also if it's like, if let's say in the journal entries it like shows a lot of like abnormalities, it will say, oh, you should probably talk to a doctor, things like that. So that was like a cool app that I made with some friends.
And what do you do with the apps when you're done with them? Do you sell them to somebody, or is it more of you just put them on the app store and then they just start getting used?
So it really depends, because it's been such a journey for me. For example, like the first few apps I just made for fun, and then as time went on, I would work with people and make apps with friends or business partners. The latest app I made was called Ease It, which is a consumer goods delivery app in South Africa, and that was like the first business I ever started, you know, where we had 10 employees and we created this whole infrastructure of drivers and consumers and a marketing team, and actually like deployed a real product. And before that, it's been mostly just like some businesses, some just having fun, a little bit of a mix. And then some contract work where I would just like, I'm like, I want some money. So I'd be like, let me just make it out for somebody.
I love it. And when we're talking about like mentors and building all these things, I know you did a lot of research on your own. I really do advocate for mentorship through podcasts and readings and reading nonfiction books. If I was to ask you, what is your favorite do you listen to podcasts? You have time for listening to them.
I do not.
Do you have a favorite non-fiction book?
Yeah. Okay. So I love reading. That's actually what I set. Like I do that I try to do that every night and every morning when I wake up and go to sleep. And I've been reading a lot of nonfiction lately, so this is good. Yes, the memoir by Condoleezza Rice.
Interesting. I haven't read that one.
She was Secretary of State during Obama, and it's a really good memoir. It's a very timely, I think, too. So I recommend that book.
Awesome. Because I like to ask every single one of my guests, because I am such a nonfiction nerd that I'm reading constantly. So I love that. I'm going to have to definitely check that one out. And the last question for Miriam, is there, and I'm such a nerd with quotes that really kind of help me keep going throughout the day. Do you have any good quotes? And if you don't, it's okay.
Quotes. No, I have so many.
Okay. I know it's hard to pick just one, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you the ones that I repeat to myself.
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
These are the ones I repeat.
Yeah.
So one is, my plan is I'll figure it out. That's one.
I love it. Have you ever heard of, oh God, there's an author, have you ever heard of the book, Everything's Figure Outable?
No, haven't heard of that.
It's a nonfiction book.
cool. Book for book.
Yep.
And I would say like another one that I say to myself for like confidence related is just when I'm feeling down or I need a boost of like, you can do this energy. I say, you are strong, you are independent, you are a woman. And I repeat that to myself.
I love it. Because it seems like you are very pro women's rights. Am I reading into that too much? It just seems like it. So am I. I'm actually a retired city firefighter for crazy reasons too. Yeah. So I feel you with the suppression and all the great things. But God, where was I going with that, Miriam? Yeah, with all the women's rights, right? Where was I going to go with that question? It was going to be so good.
You are a woman. And usually I say like this, while you think, I'll say, you are strong, you are independent, you are a woman. That's how I say to myself, like, you are strong.
I love it.
You are independent. Yeah.
Because you have to own it to actually like get it going. Maybe it's the independence, because it seems like through your documentary that you did on Netflix, it seems like you have always just been really independent. As you were just talking as well, you were just like, it's just who I am. Like, I just can't change myself. So if there was somebody out there, and I love your quote that you just did, so that could kind of help some women as well. If there was someone out there struggling with confidence, and this will be our last question, how would you kind of help somebody get like moving a little bit? Have you ever had to help somebody like gain their confidence a little bit? What would you kind of get them going in that direction of confidence rather than being so hard on themselves?
Honestly, it's a hard question because I feel like I do help people with this. And a lot of the times when my friends are feeling like no motivation for something, they come to me and I like motivate them to like do it, whatever it is. But for me, it's really personal. Like, it depends on the person and what it is exactly they're struggling with. So it's hard to make a general statement about like what I say, but if I had to think about it, like what that could be, I would say that I feel, especially with women, they don't put enough trust in themselves, and they put trust more in the opinions of others and what people think they should be doing. But I really think that we know what we want to be doing, whether it's scary, whether it's crazy, whether it's like outlandish, I truly believe that we know what we want. And so my advice would be just to do it, whatever it is, like, what you want to do, go for it, even if it's scary.
And another quote that I like is, do it scared. Because I get pretty bad anxiety and it's like, shit, just do it anyways, Lauren.
No, I think when we're scared, that means we're doing something that's where we're learning. That's when we're doing things that actually really matter, because we're only comfortable with things that we've done before tons of times, that we're used to, right? So if we're not scared, then we're not growing. And so it's like fear, it's like anxiety and excitement are the same thing, so if you want to get excited, then do something that scares you.
I love it. You had so many nuggets, and I know this was a shorter episode, but I just wanted to say thank you for being you, and you're the driving force of the younger generation in women's rights and all the things, just showing up and doing it and just owning who you are. So I just wanted to say thank you, Miriam, for being here, for sharing your life with all the women in the world, because I think it's really important to be able to show up and be who you are and just own your shit. So
totally.
I just want to say thank you again. And thank you so much for being here today. So
of course.
Yeah, we'll chat with you a little bit later. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next episode.
Thank you. It's super fun.
I hope you are so excited about where you're going, because I know I'm excited for you. Thank you so much for listening in today. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you shared it with a girlfriend or posted it on social media. Tag me so I could personally say thank you. I am so grateful. And until next time,